am his will, the fire that bends the world to his command. I am the blade that shapes kings and shatters tyrants.
Enough, Merlin. You can't keep throwing lives into this abyss. These experiments, they're destroying what remains of us.
Destroying us? They're what's keeping us alive. Do you think the Fall Dwellers will stop for pity or mercy? Every soul we lose here saves 10 more on the battlefield. You told me to do this. You sanctioned this. And I'm close to getting it right. I know it.
No, we can't justify this. There's no victory worth such a cost.
You know full well, Arthur, that this isn't about victory. It's about survival. If we don't push these boundaries, there will be no future for your kingdom. For Avalon. You dream of peace, but without victory, there will be no peace to dream of. The path ahead is brutal, but if we relent now, we lose everything.
And yet we keep losing people and gaining nothing in return. We must change the path.
They volunteered for this.
They volunteered to save our kingdom, and you've gotten no closer to doing it. Their sacrifices cannot be in vain, Merlin. Find another way. Use your mind, your wisdom. Leave this slaughterhouse you've created behind.
A different way. That will take time, and resources we may not have. The enemy won't wait.
They will if I make them. Whatever it takes, I will buy you that time. Find me a weapon that wins this war without annihilating what we fight to protect.
Whatever it takes.
Yes. Let it be known that it was my decision, and I will bear the consequences of it.
Oh no, my king. People can never know. It was all my idea, and you knew nothing about it. All of us have our role to play. You are the leader, and they need to love you. If we win, you need to become more than a man. You need to become a symbol.
Now, I remember. Before you judge me, it all seems so obvious now, doesn't it? The right thing to do. It wasn't back then, and you can trust me on that. We were on the brink of losing the war, and wars aren't won with wishful thinking. There was no clean path, no noble answer. Only the weight of reality pressing down on our necks. Something had to be done, or everything we fought for would have been in vain. And in the end, the ones who stepped forward, who chose to pay the price, made it possible. And their deaths gave Merlin the knowledge he needed to finish his work. To find something that could really turn the tide in our favor. Justified? No. Justification is for those who have the luxury of doubt. And I had a kingdom to save. They were brave men who volunteered their lives, just as they did every time we rode onto the battlefield. The difference was that if Merlin succeeded, One man's sacrifice could have saved us all. Could have ended the war before more blood was spilled. If sacrificing a few meant the survival of all, then there was no choice at all. Maybe they never saw justice. Maybe their real stories were erased from history. Call it cruelty. Call it madness. But if I'd done nothing, there would be no Avalon left to argue over. But the kingdom still stands. The people live. And that has to mean something. I did. But this wasn't about pride. It wasn't about saving face. It was about survival. The truth about all this would have broken my people. I couldn't allow that. And a king doesn't get to flinch. If that meant carrying the weight alone, so be it. I would make that choice again if I had to. I told him to stop the experiments on our men, but to keep going. And he did. He started experimenting on the Four Dwellers, the enemy. If their bodies could be broken down, their power turned against them, wasn't that their own doing? Wasn't that fair? So he figured out how to twist the Four Dwellers' power into something we could wield. I told him to conquer the Wyrdness, and in the end, he did. He found a way to make me stronger. Stronger than any man had the right to be. It wasn't just magic. It was something deeper, older. A force that reshaped me. And with it, we won. The war ended. Avalon was ours. The bloodshed stopped. The banners were raised, and the kingdom stood safe. That's the question, isn't it? All those lives we sacrificed. Loyal souls, ready to pay the ultimate price for what we fought for. I grieved them all. I carried them with me at every step. Their memory a weight on my conscience. But it was for them that we pressed on. Because otherwise, their deaths would have been in vain. And that, I could never accept.
You've got that look again, like you've seen something you wish you hadn't. Another piece of the king's soul reclaimed, right? What did it show you this time? Merlin. Ah, Merlin and his obsession with the Wyrdness. The king thought it could save us. Merlin thought it could be controlled. Together, they were willing to tear the world apart to win. I was a prototype for Merlin's latest idea, immortality. One of a long line of the king's loyal pawns. Used and discarded when they found a better way. When they decided to go even deeper into their madness and turn our king into a monster. Even if he didn't, he should have. He was desperate to win. And desperation doesn't leave room for conscience. Every scream, every scar, even if he didn't see it, he allowed it. That's as good as approving it. Fight back. Against who? Merlin? The king? You don't fight gods when you're just a pawn on their board. You endure. You wait. And when the time comes, you either break, or you're left to clean up their mess. That's what I do. What I've always done. Of course he'd say that. There's always a scapegoat and a convenient excuse for men like him. But it doesn't absolve him. Not when he was the one who unleashed this madness on all of us. He wanted victory, no matter the cost. And when you want something that badly, you stop looking too closely at what's being done in your name. And, after all, who said we were supposed to win this war? Who said we were supposed to survive? The monsters, the weirdness, the chaos. All of it leads back to them. We're left in the ruins of their grand plans, trying to uphold their ideals, fighting for what never was. It's time to bury all these fairy tales in a well-deserved grave. And that's what I do. You've seen what they did, what he did. And that's not the end of the story. It's not the extent of their sins. Find the pieces of his soul. Put him back together, if that's what it takes. And then we, or I alone, if you decide to defy me, can end the cycle. Either way, we will get to his resurrection. I've seen it too many times to believe the cycle will be broken before it happens. But know this, once he's whole, Arthur's power, his mistakes, and his madness will all return. And when that moment comes, I'll be there. Whether to stand with you, or step over you. The choice is yours. Just remember that when that happens, and you stand by his side, there won't be room for both of you. Start. You've already started. But if you want the next piece, head to Kunacht. The menhir there is failing, the weirdness swallowing what's left of the village. You will need to find another artifact. The shield our king gave to Palamedes. He was one of the king's finest, a voice of reason amidst the madness. But it didn't save him or his legacy from what they had coming. Find the shield, and then, well, we will meet again. We'll see if your perspective changes.
Sometimes it's nice. Sometimes it's nice to just sit and think.
It was supposed to be a reminder. The sword was never just steel. It was a symbol of what we stood for. Strength, justice, the will to carve a path forward. A weapon, yes, but also a promise. I wanted them to remember, to fight for those ideals, to uphold them, even when I was gone, even when there was no king left to lead them. Merlin saw Avalon for what it was long before the rest of us. He told me that Tintagel wouldn't hold, not forever. That the Wyrdness would gnaw at our walls, at our minds, at our very bones, until nothing human remained. But he still fought to map a way forward, to carve some sense into this land. And in the end, the land swallowed him whole anyway. We were losing the battle at Tuathan's mouth, our last push before the Wyrdness took the field. Merlin was with us, bleeding, exhausted, but still weaving his spells. Then it came. Not a beast, not a man, not something we ever had words for. A shadow, wearing 1,000 torn banners, moving like it had no shape of its own. Merlin raised his staff, spoke a name I didn't recognize. And then he was gone. Not killed, not struck down, just gone. Like the land itself had taken him back.
What a nice day. Sometimes it's nice to just sit and think.
I can smell it. Sour herring with cheese. I can smell it. You made it. Do you understand now? Only by expanding our desires and fully embracing pleasure can we, the unfortunate beings thrust into this sorrowful world, hope to find a few roses among life's thorns. You will never be free from the smell of sour herring, and you should never want to be free from it. Food.
What a nice day.
Didn't expect to see you here again. You'll see the truth. Still hanging around? Don't forget who you're dealing with.
Sometimes it's night. Oi, Fred. Yeah, well, Alar is a fanatical follower of that Shadowblade. He's read a couple of those books, and suddenly he thinks he knows my trade better than I do after 40 years in a forge. He even had the nerve to argue with me. Now, I told him, I can hammer your face just as easily as this steel. Well, that shut him up quick. Arden Shitblade, you mean? Of course I don't respect him. That fool is ruining the reputation of every armorer out there. No one knows who he is or why his nonsense even gets published. But plenty of people would love to get their hands on him. I'd gladly get rid of him myself. You don't get it. Those books, they are dangerous. Now think about it. Somebody reads that nonsense, makes armor, and then heads out into the world. What do you think will happen? They sure as hell won't become a Knight of the Round Table. First Grindelow they come across will punch right through that garbage armor. And you don't think the one writing this nonsense, testing people's faith, is at fault? Because I sure do. To me, that Shadowblade is dangerous, and someone needs to put an end to it. Well, if you could find him, knock some sense into his empty head, and cut off his hands, so he'd never write another book. I would cover you in gold. Oh, kid, for a favor like this, I'd be plenty generous, trust me. I've got no idea. Maybe Alar knows something. He's the biggest admirer of that charlatan I've ever met. He's been trying to share the wisdom of those books, but I chased him off and haven't seen him since. Thank you. You'll not only make this old smith happy, but the entire guild will be grateful.
Oh, right. The lamellar armour from the Armourer's Almanac. I remember. So how did it turn out? That's impossible. You must have made a mistake. I'm sure it wouldn't have turned out like that if you had followed Arden's instructions properly. Depends. Why do you ask? Oh, that's my dream too. Would you take my copy of the first volume with you, just in case you meet Shadowblade? Because I know where to find him. The almanac isn't printed by Arden himself, but in Timberwall, based on his manuscripts. In the first editions, they accidentally included not only Arden's name and pen name, but also his place of residence. I paid a good sum to get a copy, but here it is. No problem. I'll lend you this copy. But don't forget to get it signed.
guard down. Beg for mercy!
I'll have your head on a pike!
Greetings, stranger. May the word bless your day. Is there something you need? A warm meal? A place to rest? Or perhaps you're in need of a weapon to bolster your courage as you travel through these dark and troubled lands. I haven't gathered much, but you might find something useful here. At the end of his papacy, the 18th Pope of the Red Church issued the Papal Bull of Calling. It's truly a sacred scripture. I often find myself going back to it, as the word therein moves me deeply. Out of all the verses, these are the ones that resonate with me most. May all those called by the word never be forsaken by it. If your way of the word leads you through thorns and whips, embrace it and become an inquisitor of penance. If your way of the word is that of a sword, blood, and fire, shed the blood, fuel the fires, and become an inquisitor of pain. I have been called. So, here I am, and this is my truth. Unless my interpretation of the Papal Bull of Calling is wrong, then yes, that's an apt description of what I do. Therefore, if it's words of comfort you're seeking, I'm afraid you've come to the wrong person. I don't perform priestly duties. Certainly, here's what I have. Fare thee well, then.
Back to your hovel, coward! This is my lucky day. We'll make short work. This is going to hurt.
Remain vigilant.
I will bleed you! Something's not right. We ain't safe. You're only making me angrier! You're in for a world apart! You'll regret this!
Up on me.
No one sneaks up on...
You're nothing but a peasant! Show me what you're made of! I'll strike you down!
Tis but a scratch!
You'll fall to my sword!
You'll fall to my sword.
I see fear in your eyes.
You're no match.
I will be your downfall.
don't even say that. Someone comes, lights them in here, and then dies on all watch? People would be at my door with pitchforks.
He's waking up. Welcome back to the land of the living, our hero.
Help him up, Ansem. Welcome to my home. Quite a scene unfolded at the Menhir, with you at the heart of it. I can't decide if I'm more delighted or surprised. What was it that made the Menhir react to you? I see. You have a habit of not taking things seriously, don't you? But this is no trivial matter, so I demand respect. Come now, you must have a theory. The local Menhir here have been rather lifeless for quite some time. Then you come along, breathe life into what was dead, and, whether you meant to or not, alter the course of our history. That's how I see it anyway. Tell me, do you know what this Menhir represents? So they say. The Menhirs were raised by Merlin to ward off the ancient mists that burst monsters beyond human comprehension. But none of this matters in our current situation. Here, the Menhir represents something more. For some, it's a symbol of freedom and independence. Strength, if you will. It shows that the people of Connacht, my subjects, can face any challenge, even at the world's end. And for others, like our guest from Camelot, whom I'm sure you've seen, it's a symbol of power. Power once granted by King Arthur, and therefore by Camelot. And power that has been granted can be taken away. Officially, they say they want to gather all the Menhir scattered across Avalon, set them around Camelot, and bring people there to ensure their safety. That is, if they can figure out how to restore the power of the Menhirs. I don't think we know each other well enough to speak on unofficial terms. I'm well aware. And now we're also facing an outbreak of the Red Death, which will no doubt influence Camelot's decision on whether to offer my people shelter. But with the Menhir reignited, the people of Connacht will be even less willing to give up and go to Camelot. If anything, I expect rebellion to break out, and bloodshed is something neither we nor the capital want. I don't know, to be honest. It's not something I could admit publicly, but I feel both sides have a point. I understand the people who don't want to abandon their homeland, and I understand the knights, who must face a long-lost terror and find a solution to an impossible problem. Believe me, being a lord in times like these is a heavy burden. I want you to speak with Dinho and try to calm him down. He's the commander of Camelot's forces stationed in Connacht, and as you probably imagined, your presence here didn't exactly make his job easier. With the Menhir active again, everything could change. Palamiti's shield, you say? An unusual request. That shield rests beneath the Menhir, and legend has it that it used to fuel its power for centuries. I don't mind if you look at it, touch it, whatever you need. Just don't take it. It's a treasured relic, and the people of Connacht are quite attached to it. And you're probably just as attached to your head, which you'll lose if we catch you trying to steal the shield. If you need anything, speak to Ansem. He's the one who decides what's worth my time.